Welcome to the experiment. I'm your host, Joe Soro. Normally, I would distribute pleasantries of hello, how are you, and how are you doing. But today isn't that day. And I thought having a show yesterday after the continued debacle of the LA Dodger bullpen would have been a little too cliche, a little too emotional. Contrary to what you guys have probably seen on the LFB or here with me is I am a pretty controlled guy. When I am angry and when I am going off, I actually am in control. Whether you want to believe that or not is up to you. But I didn't want to do a show last night, not because I didn't feel like I could control it. I just wanted to let what happened, especially within the last month, marinate a little bit more. And I wanted to really focus on what I wanted to talk about here for the next hour or two on what is really going on. What is really going on in something that isn't something new? Because I think a lot of times we are prisoners of the moment, and we think that a little bit of success will remedy what's happened in the past. And I'm a victim of that myself. I allow myself to be that victim and talking myself into the positiveness of life, of sports, whatever, because it is less draining than to be realistic. Being realistic in real life, I think, is paramount because you're able to catch problems much quicker. Yes, it's not conventional for those around you typically, but if you generally treat people well, I think people will deal with it because it always ends up being a better solution in the end because most things don't work out. And if you're prepared for it, you become kind of the you get the receipts for it, right? That's kind of the term these days. Make sure you have the receipts if you're going to go a certain way. But this is sports. This is supposed to be entertaining. It's not supposed to be something that stresses you out. It's not supposed to be something that's supposed to dominate your life in a sense of ruining your life, right? But and that's true. I'm not doing shows like this to talk about the negative things that come around. It's a show about entertainment and also talking about what's happening. So I'm going to tell you what's happening. That's all I'm doing right now. Take it how you want, interpret it how you want. The Dodgers didn't just start having issues July 2nd, 3rd, or in July in general. If you've been watching this team all year, and I'm going to go even deeper in this is not just also a 2025 season. There are usual suspects that are still lingering. And it was disheartening to read some of the stuff, the limited stuff I've read, because I generally have stopped reading sports material outside our normal channels, like within our own channels, right? Or just trying to stick to articles that aren't clickbaity. Most of the stuff out there are clickbaits, and I'm not watching it. Even a show like Dodgers Nation, as good as DMAC is, I'm not a big fan of his clickbait headlines. I will not. I don't want to see clickbaits. I don't care to see it. I don't want to hear a question on there saying, "Is this new thing coming up next?" And we have to click on it to see what the hell they're talking about. Now, if you're in tune with the Dodgers, you probably already know what they're talking about, so you don't have to really click on it, right? But for those who don't know and want to, what's he talking about? See, to me, that's kind of, I don't know, manipulating. I just don't want to. I don't want to. I want to be around that, and I don't want to support it. But what I do want to say is, I'll mention what I read is there's a little bit of I don't want to use the C word here. It's a horrible word because it's not the C word, and the C word is cancer. There's a little bit of bad luck. Let's call it bad luck. The bad luck guys, right? There's certain guys on the team, even with the success, that seem to always just kind of fester in and around, right around the things that usually go south. And it's not really blame. It's just sometimes you ever meet those people in your life that, and they may not be mean people. They may not mean, they might not be anything bad in the general sense, but it just seems like nothing ever really goes right when they're around. I don't know what the future holds for this team as far as the dynasty part. I came into this season fully invested in watching every single game, and I have, barring a few innings here and there on my DVR on maybe I think 2 games, which I'll get to at some point. But what is what is the identity of this run? It started out well with the Shohei Ohtani era. You could call it the Shohei Ohtani era. But what are we seeing now? Has the euphoria run out of the Ohtani get? You won a championship. He had a 50-50 year. The team played well enough to be best record last year. They did everything they were supposed to last year, and they won a championship to boot. Because sometimes you can do everything right and still not win it all. That's, I guess, what they say is baseball. But then they go into this last offseason and they gather, because of the resources that Otani allowed them to have in deferring his money, and of course other guys that defer their money like Teo and so forth. What happened? What did the Dodgers do coming into this season? I think they came into this season with the same mentality, even though they had depth up the yin yang. And what is when you go into any operation, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be sports, could be anything. And you're constantly in this third gear mode and you're never really going all out. What is the benefit of that? For baseball, definitely for a Dave Roberts managed team, you could put Friedman in there and blame him on this too, but we don't really know who is really guiding this all the way. Well, maybe it's a collective. But I am stubborn enough to feel that if you're going to hire a captain of a ship, you're going to need to let him captain the fucking ship, right? You're not the Armis Titanic people who built the ship, got the employees there to build it, made sure the funds were there from the banks. That's what the Friedmans and the Castons and the Mark Walters guys are, right? Okay, so you do all that. And then you hire a fucking captain, right? Hey, we need you to captain this ship. What are we going to do? Well, just to let you know, Dave, we set this ship up with every bit of backing you can think of. We have enough lifeboats. We have enough engines. We have enough maintenance guys to make sure the engines are working. We have everything you could want to go into this season and really focus on really winning this thing. But what did they do? Yeah, they started out 8-0, but I think 5 of those games they had to come back. And for the first half of the season, all they did was expend the bullpen. And why? Why did they expend it? Oh, I know why. Because the starters were hurt. Geez, where have I heard that before? What is the deal with starters and the LA Dodgers? Oh, it's a league-wide thing, Joe. It's no starting pitcher can last anymore. Everybody's going on Tommy John and everyone's out for the season, or they're getting traded, whatever. So we're now spending $300 million on a payroll, more than any team. I think that actually number might have gone to 400. I have to look at it. And now we're supposed to be like everyone else? Is that what you're telling me? So what did you spend that money on then? What did you spend that money on if you're going to still do the same thing everyone else does because of the way the league is? Isn't that what the depth was for? Isn't that what all this was for during the offseason? And at what point Does babying everything all the time benefit the player? Is it okay? The velocity is at 94 miles per hour at that point, right? It used to be 91. It used to be 89 as a collective in the league. So we all know that these pitchers are all pitching 95 to 98 to 99 now, right? When in the past, who was pitching 99? The only one I remember growing up was always Nolan Ryan. Who else was pitching close to 100 miles per hour? Very, 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 very few people. Now you have two or three guys on each rotation that are throwing that number. Why? Because analytics have made you do it. Otherwise, you're going to get shelled, right? By a team after the third time around, blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm not going to say that management failed in acquiring talent. Forget about that for a second. Forget about the talent part. We already know they did an excellent job acquiring talent. But where are the resources in preserving your players or mentally having them focused on winning? The mentally focused part of winning instead of constantly staying in third gear. I want a legitimate response to that question because I've been asking this question for a while now. It's not just the 2025 season. I don't want to just be a prisoner in the moment and blame people and things on why something's going wrong now. I want to know why this issue keeps happening, and it's been happening over and over and over again. And it's not just pitchers. And it's not just high leverage starting pitchers. Why are guys in slumps? Why are guys getting injured? I mean, it used to be guys got injured, and it's baseball. If it was football, I can't say anything about football. Football, there's just it's too violent of a sport. So the 49ers last year were decimated with injuries, absolutely decimated. How are they supposed to get through it? They couldn't. They couldn't. And they're not the only ones. They just had probably the worst one last year. But it's football. It's a violent sport. But baseball where you're in an era where you have unlimited access to the best medical care, preparation, massages, acupuncture, whatever you want to say. All these things. And this is the LA Dodgers too. This is the Guggenheims. They have access to even more than the Pittsburgh Pirates or the Miami Marlins. And yet, all I see from a $300 to $400 million payroll is the same crap that all these other teams do and have. So what was the point? What was the point? Hey, Drew, if you're going to talk like a fucking moron, fuck off, okay? This isn't porn. If you want to go listen to porn, get the fuck out of here, okay? Stick your fucking bullshit out of here. I'll give you one warning here, otherwise you're fucking gone. Don't talk about jacking off on here like an idiot. Okay? You want to jack off? Go jack off without telling us. We don't need to hear that garbage. What is it? What's the solution? Why is this team so mentally weak? Why? So I'm gonna dig deeper in this. The Dodgers had a good season last year, right? Number 1 record in the league, and then went into the playoffs. Had a little bit of a downturn after Game 3 of the NLDS. And then what happened? The first time since the 2020 Game 4 game against the Braves in the NLCS, where they came back from 3-1, right? That was like, those were the 2 times where I remember death was at the door and they responded. They win Game 4, they win Game 5, and then they never look back. Now, we have to also look at the teams that they beat in these scenarios. What are the San Diego Padres known for? What have they been known for in their history? They've been known as a team that doesn't win when they're supposed to. Okay, so the Dodgers got over on that team. They beat them. They came back and beat them in 5. The Dodgers then played the Mets, and at the time, the Mets were the hottest team since June at that point. And the Dodgers took care of business there. Pretty much all 4 wins were blowouts. The one loss that they had was a bullpen game, and then the other loss just so happened to actually help them because it extended the schedule for the World Series when Jack Flaherty was pitching, right? So even the losses in that series made a little sense. They had a bullpen game. They lost a bullpen game to a really good team on their, they were a really good team, right, in game 2. And then lost the game that actually ended up benefiting them because that allowed Freddie Freeman to rest 3 more days. And then they went on and played a team in the New York Yankees that have had a reputation even last year as being guys that fold under pressure. So where am I getting at on this? Is it enough to just come back in just a couple series in a 6-season span? No. I'm expecting a team that's this fully arsenaled to be great. This team was not supposed to be fighting for a division. They weren't even supposed to be fighting for best record. This team should have been fighting for the best team of all time. That's a good one, G. Am I asking too much? $300, $400 million payroll. Your 3 main guys to start an inning is Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie Freeman. On top of that, you have Will Smith, who's having a career year, who could win the batting title, who's gotten plenty of rest. And that's part of this too. Like, I'm watching a game every day like you guys are, and I'm going, what is this? Okay, I get that you're going to give Will Smith a day off once a week. Sure. Hell, I even said, yeah, maybe 2 times a week. But did you expect Will Smith to have every other day off, it seems like? And how about gauging those days off based off who you're playing? All due respect to Dalton Rushing, but Dalton Rushing can't really hit Major League Baseball pitching right now. He can do well behind the plate, doing as well as you can for being a rookie. But you have a guy who's batting number 1 in the league, and it plays really well as a catcher. And now you're sitting this guy every other game, and you're sitting him in key series games. And then now all of a sudden he goes on an 0 for 16 slump. Like, what is the fucking point at that point, right? What is the point? If you're going to rest him, I'd like to see results. All this bullshit resting, all this bullshit scaling back, all this bullshit staying in 3rd gear, what has it benefited? It's benefited nothing right now. Now you're done having the best record, likely. I mean, you'd have to go on a run. You'd have to win. And I've been saying this for a month, actually. You're going to have to go on a double-digit run to get even close to that now. So you've already ruined any chance at having the best record in the majors. So that means a team that has sucked on the road all year. Didn't matter whether they were in first, beginning of the year, 8-0, didn't matter. They have sucked on the road all year, and they continue to suck on the road. Now you're going to ask those guys to go to Milwaukee. If they continue this slide, start in San Diego maybe. Maybe Philly. Maybe Houston if they go to the World Series. Maybe Seattle. What did it mean at the end? Oh, I know what it is. We lost Muncie for 3 weeks. What the fuck did you have a $300, $400 million payroll then? Oh, Conforto, it was a dud. See, you noticed I haven't talked about the Confortos in this discussion because you're still playing this guy. The guy's batting 160 for qualified hitters. He has the lowest batting average in the majors. Yet you keep playing him. So what do you want me to say with that? Why do you keep playing him? Oh, Edmund's injured. The Comet is injured. Okay. So everyone is injured, and that's why they're losing, right? You call up a bunch of young guys, you make a couple trades, all of them are duds. Is that really, I mean, think about that for a second. How is it that everything that's going on right now isn't working? Is it just coincidence? No. No, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a passive philosophy in LA. And I'm going to tell you what's happened in the last 6 seasons because I've watched a hell of a lot of baseball the last 6 seasons. I'm not going to bring up 2019 even. I'm just going to stick to the 2020 because that's when they kind of got over it, right? They got over it. And 2019, you could say was bad luck. They put Kershaw in Game 5 against Washington. Those assholes hit 2 home runs. Okay, fine. I'll give you that one. 2018, 2017, you guys all know that. You all know what happened there. I don't need to explain. But you got over that stuff. You won the championship in 2020, despite the shortened season. Now I'm thinking, okay, you got that out of your hair. Usually when you win, it's like, okay, we know how to do this now. Let's rock and roll. Instead, I keep seeing the same stupid, bad habits from leadership on this team. Whether Freddie Freeman is on the team, whether Shohei's on the team or not, whether Shohei's pitching, whether Mookie's on a slump, whether somebody's injured, it's the same damn thing. So you can't tell me and convince me it's one or the other because the same issues happen. The only difference now versus in June and May is they were eking away at those wins and now it's catching up to them. Why? Because it's fucking August, the dog days of baseball. And they're soft. It created a soft philosophy. You make mistakes. You sign the wrong guys. You bring up the wrong guys. Fine. I get it. Not everything's going to be perfect. But what happens when, wait till Mookie starts to hit. Wait till Freeman starts to hit. They all started hitting. You're still losing. Shohei even stopped striking out 10 times a game. He's on a tear right now. What is it? Oh, it's the bullpen. Okay, now it's the bullpen. Now it's the bullpen. The last 2 weeks, it's the bullpen. But the problem is, guys, is what you do in May and June will sometimes dictate what happens in August and September. And of course, during the playoffs. I can't help but reiterate that I didn't see it going this bad. I'm not going to front and lie there. I'm not going to. That's not. I didn't see it this way. I didn't see it happening like this. But I had sent a text to Empire Jeff about this, and I said, these fuckers better come to play against Houston this weekend. I want to sweep 2 out of 3, and I want some dominant games. And since that series, since Houston put their foot in their mouth and ass, they haven't been right. 18-1. 18-1. 11-5. 13-7, 11-1, 19-2 to the A's, 15-2 against the Marlins. You guys hear a pattern? 16-0 against the Cubs. We all understand a blowout every now and then, but if you watch those games, it's not about the blowout. It's about the quitting. When you create that kind of mentality, this is the shit. This is the residual shit of that. And for what? For what? So that you can preserve your guys who are not preserved. You haven't preserved shit. For what? They're still injured. They're still not available. So why don't you go all out? Go all out at this point if they're going to break down anyways. That is my point tonight. And it's been my point my whole life. And maybe I'm cursed with this. I shouldn't probably say the word cursed. I watched Kobe Bryant, right? The Kobe Bryants of the world play literally after a high ankle sprain at 10 o'clock at night, play a 12 o'clock the next day Sunday game in Toronto. And he didn't do it once. He didn't do it twice. He didn't do it 3 times. The motherfucker did it every fucking way he could. I didn't even, and I'm not, the Knicks, I even looked around for other teams because I want to see what is it. So I can have another excuse on, that's not an excuse, but another reason to explain where my head is on this. If you go back and watch the 1992 New York Knicks, and I picked a team in the early 90s on purpose. Not Michael Jordan's teams. Forget about Mike. We all know who Michael is. We know who Michael is. So I wanted to pick some other team that played like animals in a good way. I mean, the Knicks were reincarnated. They were the next version of the Pistons. The only reason why they didn't win against the Bulls in that decade is because they didn't have an Isaiah Thomas. Just what it is. You got to give credit where credit is due. And then, of course, the Bulls were at full throttle, right? So bad combination. But I picked the Knicks for a reason. Because they played like animals. And they were New York. You had 5 starters on that team that played 81 games or more. And by the way, 4 of those starters played 82. The only guy in that starting lineup played 81. That was Mark Jackson. And then the next 3, the rotation guys coming off the bench, all 82 games. Greg Anthony, those types. Less money, less nutritional information, less medical advances, less. And yet I keep hearing the same garbage everywhere. Well, athletes are better. They're running faster. They're doing this. They're doing that. Yet they're still getting injured. So tell me, what is your response to that? You're doing all this prep. You're playing passive so that you can preserve the team and its talent and its bullshit. For what? So that you can still get more injured? No. Never. I don't give a shit what manager comes from Major League Baseball. I don't care if Rob Manfred comes up to me and tells me this, gives me excuses. There's not a fucking 50-year, 60-year, 30-year, 20-year baseball man in the majors that can convince me that this shit isn't bullshit. We're a soft society, and sports is a microcosm of society. And in the end, you do all this self-help bullshit and all this life coaching bullshit. You have all these fucking idiots online who have zero self-esteem but show pictures and them at the gym and everybody doing whatever the fuck that is that they do. And life is even worse now. Marriages cap out at 70%. Kids don't know what the fuck they're doing at school. Teachers don't know what the fuck they're doing at school. And yet I keep having to hear the same stupid bullshit. Joe, relax. Joe. There's a saying my father, God rest his soul's generation, used to say, is the guys after the baby boom, right? Well, I mean, technically baby boomer, yeah. I always like to think the baby boomers are the ones right out World War II, but it actually extends to 60, right? My father was born in 56. So yeah, he's a baby boomer. The thing they used to say is that's how it starts. That was a line I grew up hearing a lot in my life. I heard it in some of my favorite movies. This is how it starts. And it's been there. It's been there. And it just keeps festering slowly over. What's next? When are you going to change this? When are you going to realize what you guys keep fucking doing isn't working? You're doing this for a reason, and the reason isn't happening. Every other fucking week, a relief pitcher is going on the IL. For what? Oh, his arm hurts. The motherfucker is pitching once every 3 days. He pitches for 10 pitches. What the hell is going on here? The starting pitchers, I'll give you that one. I'll give you at least that one. That one makes a little sense. Because those guys are having to pitch 95 to 98 over and over again with velocity, without any sticky stuff, with all the analytics against them, with the time clock. You stack up this team with enough relief pitchers to have two teams, and you still can't get through it. You have all your players have slumps and then come back, and you still can't win. What is it other than what's here? This is the only thing that makes sense. Does Freeman have the balls? Hold on. I'm going to put this up. Ohtani has no plate discipline. He swings at anything. What is the first instinct you guys had about 3 weeks ago when he was swinging at every damn thing coming his way? We don't know if Roberts talked to him. Maybe he did, because he hasn't been doing that the last week. But don't you think that should have not happened at the beginning? I told you about a stat in the last show. Ohtani's stolen 17 bases. 17 bases 4 months in, because they're afraid of him getting hurt. Now, the difference between 17 stolen bases, that means you're putting your player in a position to score, right? They're always stealing first to get the second. That's in scoring position, right? Last year, Ohtani had 59 stolen bases. So I should have looked at this stat. I totally forgot again. But let's say he had 40 at this time, right? 40 versus 17. You're now 23 opportunities less with a player in scoring position to make something happen. That's probably good for at least 4 or 5 wins. Imagine 4 or 5 wins, right? Yeah, Dodgers would be up 4 or 5, 3 or 4 games right now. So they get all analytical when it comes to being a pussy, but they don't get analytical when they go, shit, look, what are the chances? You already had it happen. Who the hell tears their labrum stealing a base? You got it. It already happened. What are the chances of happening again? 0. I've never heard of someone tearing a labrum, stealing a base. You had it happen. 1 in a million, it happened. Let the guy steal a base. He's 31. He's in his prime. What does stealing a base have to do with pitching? Is he pitching with his legs in this playoffs? What? It's just every little thing, every pussy-ass thing in life, in baseball, whatever. It's always something. And if you're not going to produce the result, then why the hell are you doing it? Change it. Fix it. Because this isn't the first time this has happened. If the Dodgers were 3 or 4 championships deep since 2000, this is not a discussion. You all heard me say this. This team has to win back-to-back championships for this to make sense. But I'm not delusional either in saying they have to win 3 in a row. 3 in a row is very hard for any team. If you don't believe me, go look at the Golden State Warriors in 2019. They were close. But it's hard. Durant blew a tire. Clay had the worst luck at the wrong time. We've seen what happened with Tyrese Halliburton this last year. We've seen what's happened to Kawhi Leonard. We saw what happened with Kyrie. I mean, those things are understandable. But this is a continuous issue. And I'm not gonna be soft on it. I'm not gonna run away either. Oh, fuck this game. It's soft. I'm not gonna. How the fuck are you gonna solve anything if you just go away? Is anyone talking to these assholes in the media, or are they getting their credentials taken away, right? I mean, I'd like to think we're in an era where this noise can go somewhere, can it? Maybe if we yell long enough. Maybe I have the energy for it. I don't know. A lot of people don't. I do. We'll see. So here's the start. Here's the start. A little bit of the start. Actually, it started way before, but I'm not gonna relent on this. Because the results say otherwise. You've played like pussies all year to preserve the pussies, yet the pussies still got hurt. Is that too harsh? Am I being obtuse? You don't know anything about baseball, Joe. You never played in the majors. I'm going to tell you my little plumbing story. Just because you've been a plumber for 20 years, you come to my house and you fuck up my sink, I'm going to get on your ass. I'm not going to accept, you've never done this. You can't yell at me for screwing up. No, I can't. More. You should be called out for more because you have that 20-year experience. You screwed up the job. I hired you. I'm spending God knows how much of my life watching this like an idiot, looking at it from an outside observer, spending 3 hours a day, 6 days a week watching this, and I don't know shit, and I don't have the right to say, hey, man, you guys look like you're kind of soft. You guys ain't doing the job. Oh, you don't know shit about this, Joe. You never played in this. No, fuck you. That is a fucking lame-ass excuse. It's a lame-ass excuse. You know why? Because you're doing pussy-ass shit, and the results are pussy-ass shit. So prove me wrong. Fix it. Are these guys really talking to Shohei when he's chasing? Are you going to talk to Freddie when he's struggling? Probably not, because those two really don't ever not get out of their slumps. So I'll buy into that. But what about Conforto? Here, you guys want me to talk about Conforto now, right? Why is Conforto chasing pitches a foot in when he's struggling? Why isn't the manager zoned in on every single pitch in those moments? Don't you remember the old what happened? I'm an idiot watching it from home, right? I'm someone who doesn't know shit about baseball, right? Because I've never been in the majors. Yet I'm looking at the pitcher that's pitching to them and realizing that this guy doesn't have any control. I'm watching it from my love seat and I can recognize it. And I'm like, don't swing until he throws a strike. You're up 2-0. Why are you swinging on a fucking ball that's a foot in? Let him throw the strike. You can see, I can see it visually. The guy is panicking. How? How am I seeing this and they're not? You fuckers are at the park. You guys are Major League Baseball players. How? Make them pitch to you. If you can't hit a ball right down the pipe more than what, 16 times out of 100, then maybe the manager should do something, like take his ass out. Oh no, we saw somebody get pinch hit into that scenario. You pinch hit a guy. And this isn't after winning 11 in a row. This is when you're struggling. But here, let me see. Let me see if he'll come through. Maybe that's not the time to do that. Maybe that's not the time to do that. Even if it worked, you're not supposed to make that move. Because Michael Conforto isn't that guy. But I don't know shit about baseball, right? You don't think I knew who the fuck Michael Conforto was? Good player, right? Yeah, he's a good player. But he ain't that guy. You know who's that guy? Freddie Freeman. You know who's that guy? Will Smith. Because they've done it already. They've done it this year. Plenty of times. So it's a done deal, guys. Some of you guys have been listening to me for 4 years now on Lakers Fast Break. Some of you have just tuned in. Some of you are new here. So for those who are new here, for those who are going to watch this even after our live broadcast, this is not going to be your typical bullshit podcast. I don't clickbait. I don't massage anybody's ass. I don't kiss anybody's ass. And I'm not going to compromise the ethics for money. We all know who those people are. They're all over the place. They're all faker than fucking the fake grass that I fucking put in. My fake grass that my guys put in every day has more value than those guys. You know why? Because it brings time back. But if I have to listen to morons, whether they're professionals in a sport, whether they're influencers, whatever the fuck that means, I've just wasted my time. You don't waste time putting, at least with us, you don't waste time with that stuff. You don't have to water. You don't have to aerate. You don't have to fertilize. In a desert, by the way. People don't know this. Southern California is a damn desert. It's not like Palm Springs desert. It's not like Phoenix desert, but it's a damn desert. LA is a desert by the ocean. Grass is not supposed to grow here. And more often than not, I'm not going to champion plastic to be on a lawn. But at the end of the day, how much plastic is in your kitchen? How much plastic is in that stupid-ass Stanley Cup that all these women have. So stop getting all on your high horse and telling everybody you're about the environment. You're sucking down enough plastic to turn into the plastic man. And I don't even know what if that guy even exists in Marvel or DC or whatever the hell. So I didn't want to do this yesterday. It would have been too cliche. It would have been too cliche. I wanted to get on here, and a lot of times I'll bring on my cohorts and we'll jibber jabber and we'll start talking about fun stuff, right? I didn't want to do that today. I did send out a feeler to EJ, but I knew he wouldn't be available because he's working right now. But the discussion tonight is the start. It's really the start. I actually think that this is the real first show of this show because you have seen me more tamed on this show. You've seen me get more excited on another show or other shows, but you haven't really seen me get excited on this show. And if you want to use the word influence, you're going to be wrong. It's not about influence. It's about getting back to the basics because it sets the stage for everything. It's not just sports. This isn't a discussion just about sports. It's about not being afraid. When you're afraid, you make mistakes. You're always scared. Now, some people can flourish under fear, but most don't. All you Billy badasses out there with all your fucking quotes and all your bullshit on your social media, that's how you spot the fakes. That's how you spot them. You don't need to say it. You want to brag about your prowess? Sure. I'd like to have fun with that. I've told people before on the shows, hey, I'm great at what I do. I'm Billy Badass. It's fun to have that kind of confidence. But it's not supposed to be every day. It's not supposed to be constantly broadcasted. So the other part of that is, in the end, the ones who keep playing soft so that they don't offend someone or they don't rile things up. Fuck that. You got to be really good if you're going to be a leader to use that at the right moment. And it's kind of funny too because we're starting to get into that area that generation. Sorry, John Costa, if this offends you, but that John Costa age group who you want to think LeBron is better than MJ. That's not the issue. It's why. It's why. And I'm supposed to believe, supposed to buy into the fact that because somebody has the longevity, and that's supposed to mean something in terms of when it matters. I only care about when things matter. That's the great. That's where greatness is decided. When does it matter? When did you do it when it mattered? Were you there to save somebody from drowning? The difference between saving someone from drowning or helping somebody who fell. Don't you think those are two different areas? And again, both noble things. But the one who saved the person from drowning, that one has a little bit of a different mental game. And I'm sorry, that's what I'm attracted to. I'm attracted to the clutch. I'm attracted to the strong-minded. I'm attracted to the ones who play through pain, who don't allow themselves to get into lulls so that they can preserve themselves. So, since we're talking about Michael, we've talked about Kobe. You know, Michael Jordan, in the last 3 seasons with the Bulls, missed 0 games. This is what I grew up with. Even the guys that were supposed to be his contemporary, but he didn't allow them to be, they were still there. And they weren't playing patty cake basketball like they do now. Those guys are beating the shit out of each other. And they were still millionaires at that point, guys. It's not like they were getting paid what they were getting paid in the 60s. A lot of millionaires playing in the NBA in the 90s. They were rich and they were very famous. Patrick Ewing was very famous. Patrick Ewing was very rich. Matter of fact, he had one of the most hilarious quotes during the lockout of how rich he is. What was it? Yeah, we make a lot of money, but we spend a lot of money too. I don't think Patrick would ever live that down. So yeah, a little bit of a rant. I didn't know if I was gonna go an hour. I didn't know if I was gonna go 2 hours. LFB is gonna be on in about an hour. I plan on being on the show. So I wanted to give myself a little bit of a space here to go off and really try to set the stage here for those who have been watching and those who continue to watch and for those who have just tuned in. I don't know if this is something that you're going to like. I don't know if this is something that has longevity. Maybe I don't kiss enough ass to advance. Maybe I don't put enough clickbait. Maybe I don't suck the teat of YouTube enough to have the algorithms go my way. But I have confidence that at some point I'll find an area and I'll tap into that area. Because you're definitely not gonna turn into a Howard Stern. That fucking dink turned into everything he used to hate. That's a dangerous place to go, especially as you get older. I'm an old man. I'm 47. And I feel like I've gotten stronger as I've gotten older. I haven't been pussified yet because that seems to happen with all these negative net testosterone assholes. And I'm not even on TRT either, guys. My numbers might be low, but my brain doesn't feel it. I feel like I have just as much testosterone as I had when I was in my 20s because it's here. Power of the mind, right? Not enough talking about power of the mind, right? Oh, I'm sorry, there is. It's usually some skank working out at the gym telling us how have focus, get up in the morning and do all that bullshit. Yet she can't fucking have a relationship to save her life. Her kids can't stand her. Divorced twice. And then every picture she puts up is her other skanks going to some kind of event. Good for you. Good for you on that. A lot of substance there. No. No. That's it. I think the time is ending. I think it's a good time now because there has been some correction a little bit in society. I think people are kind of tired and fatigued from the constant excuse machine that we've been hearing for the last few years. And I'm done with the Dodgers and their excuses. And I'm done with friends of mine that have a lot of credibility in this that have excuses for them. I have no sympathy for the LA Dodgers. I have no sympathy for Dave Roberts. I have no sympathy for anyone involved with their organization. You set this thing up to be great, and you were passive. And now all the passiveness resulted in exactly what you were trying to avoid. So, what does that mean? Don't tell me it's bad luck. Fuck that. Maybe it's just that you're that soft. Greg, I don't know who's better than Conforto that's in the minors right now, like Ryan is. I mean, I don't have an answer to that. I really don't. I just don't. Thanks, Juan. Appreciate it, brother. I don't know what the answer is. I don't get paid to know this. I can tell you what I've diagnosed with, like I've said that here. I just don't know what they're going to do next. I think this is what I think is going on. I think they can bust out of this just by doing the same shit, right? Definition of insanity, doing the same shit over and over again and expecting a different result. So I bet you, and I hear this from Eric Karros, I hear this from Oral Hershiser, the two biggest cheerleaders for the Dodgers during their color games, right? I've been asked I've been asked, and this is another reason to bring this up. I had the opportunity to do play-by-play. I've had opportunities to do radio shows in the past. I've had opportunities to do TV. I've had opportunities to possibly coach. All these things that I believe would have been fun to do. But it's not about just those coaching and commentating and play-by-play. It's not just the job. It's the politics around it. It's the pussiness around it. That's why I never went into them, because I knew where it would have ended up. The good thing about this is no one tells us what to do. No one can really police us as long as you're not putting up stupid stuff that's not involving sports or whatever, right? So obviously the forum here is conducive for a little bit more freedom of speech. But yeah, the excuse machine has run out. We're looking at mid-August. The Dodgers were supposed to have a 10-game lead, 15-game lead by now. This was supposed to be a 27 Yankees or a 96 Yankees year. This wasn't supposed to be a battle for the division. So, what is the quote that one of my mentors said? Until morale gets better, the beatings will continue. It's going to be relentless. And I don't know if I have the bullhorn at this moment to get it somewhere, but I hope at some point I will. And it's gonna come down to you guys spreading the word. And it's not going to be tied to anything other than what's going on. This is nothing to do with feelings. Like I said, I didn't get on last night after that debacle last night, after getting swept for the second time by the freaking Angels. I didn't sign on last night because I didn't want to be that guy. Oh, he only shows up when things go wrong. No, I don't just show up when things go wrong. The shit was not good when it was running with wins. I still wasn't comfortable with the way they were winning because it was still chicken shit winning. They weren't dominating. They weren't dominating like their team was structured to do. And that matters. They didn't impose their will. They didn't dominate their opponents mentally to the point where, like, man, how the hell are we going to beat the Dodgers? Welcome, Sergio. I think I've seen you here before, but I'm glad, and I didn't recognize all the way, but I think I've seen you here before, but I don't see you post much. But I'm going to go ahead and read what you said here. I agree with Joe. There's nothing more that I hate than to hear an apologist and have an excuse for everything. That shit gets on my fucking nerve. And that again, it's very important to understand this, guys. Very important to understand that this isn't an isolated thing. This isn't an LA Dodger thing. My rant isn't just about the Dodgers. It was the spark. It is the spark. Again, I'm no life coach, but I'm trying to find the genesis here, right? I'm trying to explain the genesis of this is that there's a constant pussiness that continues to fester in everything we do. And I'm using the Dodgers as that example. Because we're not hearing any of the bullshit we heard at the beginning of the year. Oh, these guys are buying a title. Right? Oh, they're buying a title. Now you're going to hear the narrative of they're choking. So which one is it? You can't have both. It can't have both. Which one is it? Did they buy themselves a title or are they going to choke? Why are they choking if they bought a title? What? Which one is it? People conveniently scale back and forth depending on their bullshit. Fuck you, by the way. Fuck those people. If you have those kind of people around you, tell them to fuck off. Because those are the assholes that rationalize bad shit. We're all humans. We make mistakes. Some of those mistakes are bad. But understand the difference between mistakes and bad decisions. Chronic bad decisions. There's a reason why first-degree murder is different than second-degree murder, right? There's a difference between stealing candy and stealing a 65-year-old's pension, right? Marcus talking shit to SB. There's nothing more hilarious than a guy being serious and then the other guy comes in and completely shits on it. So Sports Baby is notorious for getting emotional, and then here comes Money Mark, his fellow Australian buddy, to come in and put a complete damper on it, and it is straight comedy. uh, are we frauds if we don't prove we can win again this great of a team? Yes. Yes. This year, absolutely. Absolutely. You absolutely cannot lose this year with what you built. The allowance from your number one guy to put you in the position to acquire, re-sign, and put together the correct depth. You had 8 starting pitchers coming into the season. You had a relief pitcher. At the time, we had right-handers all over the place, and we were worried about, oh man, what about the left-handers, right? Yeah, Banda. Who else? Tanner Scott, obviously. We didn't know Dreyer was going to be what he became, right? We had Vesia. Okay, cool. We got the lefties, we got the righties. The righties will be here in a little bit, though, because I know Trident got on the list a little early. Bazooka's still on the list. We lost Phillips. Okay, fine. But you acquired talent. You had enough pitching, starting pitching, until you didn't. What's going on here? All those resources to do what with it? So that you can do what everyone else is doing? All that money? All that resource? So that you can do the same shit that the Milwaukee Brewers are doing? The same shit the Miami Marlins are doing? The Tampa Bay Rays? That's what it is? Tell me that makes sense. Tell me if the assholes who talk about buying a championship, if that makes sense. Because most of the people who talk like that don't know shit about anything, not even in their own lives. People will manifest shit in their head to believe it because it makes them feel good. Ask the Dodgers that question. Forget about the results right now. Forget that for right now. You built this team so that you can do the same shit everyone else is doing. You're supposed to be the champs. Not only the champs, but you're supposed to be the dynasty of this era. And I'm not talking about 2 or 3 years. I'm talking about you got a prime player and you paid that guy $700 million eventually to usher in a decade of greatness. For what? So that after you win a championship, you keep doing the same thing everyone else is doing? I'm talking about from a mental standpoint. The guys on this team that have been in and out, you're telling me that these guys aren't good enough? Mookie's been playing all year, except for a few games when whatever. Freddie's been playing all year. Ohtani's been playing all year. Will Smith has sort of been playing all year. And that's been part of my issue with that. Like, why is he sitting 3 games every week? Does he really need that much rest? Oh, Yamamoto's been pitching all year. can't get a damn run to save his life from his team. No. It's a mentality. It's a cancer mentality that society, that sports, everyone has embraced in those areas for whatever reason, to preserve their jobs because everybody else is doing it. God knows what the hell it is. I don't identify with it. I don't. I think most people are soft, and the men have become soft. Athletes have become soft. You're worried about your arm falling off? Maybe you should learn how to pitch. I mean, let's give some credit to Kershaw this year, right? What's his top? What's his radar? 93, 94? He's been pitching pretty well. Not going to work when it matters, right? But imagine if you used your stuff when it mattered during an at-bat or a game and then pitched. Or is the league not letting you do that? Or while you were doing travel ball the last 6, 7, 8, 10 years, maybe they didn't let you do that because they just wanted velocity, velocity, velocity. So you can get paid, paid, paid. Is that really what it's all about too? Is that what it is? Well, I'll tell you what, that better change because I have a theory on this and I can't prove it. By pitchers being in the situation there are right now, owners are foaming at the mouth, unknowing that they're never going to have to really pay a lot of starting pitchers big money as this continues. So if I was you guys that are coming into their own as pitchers, you better go talk to the Greg Maddoxes and the Clayton Kershaws and learn how to pitch and have the velocity when you need it. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting twice in your career with Tommy John. Just saying. I don't know any other way. Joe, I don't know how you feel about Dave Roberts, but speaking about apologists, I can't stand Dave Roberts. So, good question. And it's nice that somebody asked it because now it's not going to sound like I had to bring it up, right? Those who have been listening to me talk about the Dodgers, Gerald Glassford being one, I have not been a Dave Roberts fan really since 2019. The putting in Clayton Kershaw as a reliever in 2019, getting the first home run off and not taking him out. It sort of started though with Rich Hill in Game 4 of the World Series when the Dodgers were up. I thought he could have went a little bit longer, but he took him out and they ended up losing. I'd say probably started then, but it really came to a head in 19 because I just started feeling like Dave Roberts is more concerned with legacy than winning games. And I find it very interesting, and I hate to do this. I really hate to do this because I love Clayton Kershaw. I always loved him, even if I've been hard on him. But the 1 year Clayton Kershaw wasn't in the decision-making of getting in a playoff game, look what happened. And this was a team that had no pitchers. They had like 1.5 pitchers. It slowly turned into 2.5. But when they got into that playoff run, they had 1.5. It was Flaherty and then Yamamoto. And Flaherty was half because he just arrived. He had just arrived, and we didn't know what the hell Buehler was going to do. I'd never seen a bullpen run in my life. That was the first one. I had never seen a bullpen World Series run as your fourth starter. I've not been a fan of Dave Roberts. He proved a little bit in last year's run. I thought he grew some balls, and I thought a lot of it was because he was on the hot seat for the first time. truly on the hot seat because articles were coming out that I didn't remember coming out. And I know in the depths of my heart that somebody leaked that stuff out. That wasn't some random guy saying, hey, this could be the last year Dave Roberts is the manager of the Dodgers. I feel very confident that it was somebody within the organization that made sure that article got out. Can't prove it, never will be able to. But why in August of last year? Why? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Is it a Dave Roberts problem? Yes, it is. Because Dave Roberts, much like Boone in New York, much like most of these managers in the majors, they're trying to preserve and listen to the analytics and preserve their jobs. They're not allowed to be managers. Now you know how you combat that, guys? It takes balls. It takes somebody to say, fuck you, I'm gonna do it this way because it's gonna work. Who out there? I'd say Dusty Baker was like the only guy the last few years that I felt like managed. Now he's not the best manager that I've ever seen. Actually, up until 2022, he was known as a guy that kept losing those in the end when he shouldn't, right? But it was the same result. So you have Dusty Baker, who's more demonstrative, who's going to be more of a manager, still not making it. Then you have somebody like Dave Roberts, who's analytically controlled, and still wasn't winning. So which one is it? I'm seeing proof that neither works. So what is it then? I'd rather have the guy that's pushing the button in the dugout. You get that feel when you're in the game versus in the box, right? Some guys that are calling plays in football, they go up to the booth and they call the plays, right? Well, let's use an example since I'm a Steeler fan. Dick LeBeau. Dick LeBeau was always on the sidelines. He liked the pulse. He liked to be there with the boys after maybe a bad defensive play or a bad defensive series or a good one. Hey, what happened out there, guys? Instead of being in the booth. I'm a believer in being in it. I would never be in the booth. I want to be in it. I want to feel what's around me. And I'm sorry, I don't care how many analytics you're doing up there. You're not going to feel it, what's going on, better than it would be in the dugout. Not putting blame on Dave Roberts for this situation. Really. It's not really about blame. It's about the allowance of soft. And Dave Roberts is soft. He is extremely soft. And he's liked by players, and he's liked by management, and he's liked by the media. I don't relate to that. I relate to Bill Belichick. I relate to Bill Parcells. I relate to Nick Saban. That's my guy. I wasn't around for Lombardi. He would have been my guy too. I really wasn't around for Chuck Noll in his heyday. But there's remnants there that I've studied and watched. And I said, yeah, I kind of in tune with how those guys kind of worked. And I'll explain it. Lombardi brought love to a locker room, but he also brought ferocity and accountability. So that is something I identify with. I say I love you to male friends of mine. I'm Middle Eastern. We kiss men on the cheek, right? I know I'm about love, and I love my people. I love my friends. I love my family. And I tell them, and Lombardi was like that, and it wasn't like that until Lombardi came, and it's documented. He brought love to a locker room. but at the same time, he brought ferocity and accountability and greatness. Chuck Noll, not into the love part, but one of the first speeches that Chuck Noll told a team at that time was the worst football team in its history. The Steelers were established in 1933 and up until 1969 had only gone to the playoffs once and didn't win that game. They were the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the NFL at that point. So they bring in Chuck Noll. And what does he start his speeches with? Well, guys, I've seen how you guys have played, and it has nothing to do with your attitude, has nothing to do with your personality. You're just not good enough. And I'm going to get rid of you, and I'm going to get better players in here. Oh, and also, if I have to motivate you, I'm going to fire your ass. Fast forward, the Bill Parcells almost taking Phil Simms' head off on the sidelines. Constant arguing with Lawrence Taylor, arguably the greatest defensive player of all time. But what were the results? Winning in New York, too, by the way. When you win in New York, it's like 2 titles, especially in football. Especially in football. I mean, the guy took the Jets. You all know who the Jets are. In 1998 to an AFC championship game. And they were leading after the first half with Vinny Testaverde. Vinny Testaverde. That's greatness. Bill Belichick, maybe a little more monotone than you'd like, but ferocious, right? And then Nick Saban, my guy. The guy that I've watched. The guy that in my view, is the greatest football coach that I've ever seen. Seen. Not only in the way he coached football, but how he did it. And what the results were. 7 national championships. Pressure of Alabama. Won one in LSU. Pressure of Alabama to boot. Bear Bryant. Bear Bryant is the Lombardi of college football coaching. And he outdid Papa Bear. Bear Bryant. Papa Bear, I'm sorry, is George Halas. Sorry, guys. The Bear, Paul Bear Bryant. And then you have the Kobe's and the Michaels and this is what I'm used to. Anything beyond that. And I'm gonna throw some props to this guy too. Because I've been having this argument, and I don't know why I got tailed into this. Any asshole who thinks Derek Jeter is overrated, you're a fucking idiot. His stats, which is not his story, by the way, are Hall of Fame stats. But what's beyond that is exactly what I've talked about the last hour and 20 minutes. He was about winning. That's all that mattered to him. And a lot of Dodger fans were a little irritated with Derek Jeter last year during the, what was it, Fox TBS broadcast, where he was kind of pissy, right? See, you saw it differently than I did. I saw Derek Jeter, the player, during those broadcasts. He was visibly sickened by the losing because he hates to lose and he loves the Yankees. You love something that much and you hate to lose, you have to respect that because it's a very rare trait. It's a very rare trait. And he's a winner for a reason. That's the greatest trait to have, is being a winner. Kobe's, Derek Jeter, Michael Jordan. Winners over and over again. And they did it with passion, and they did it in a way where you can admire it. Which takes me to my next question about Kershaw. What role do you see him playing this year if you make the playoffs? Knowing Dave, he's going to find a way to throw him in there. Dave is too soft for me. So that's a great question. I would love to have Kershaw pitch in the playoffs on a title run. However, if he's going into a game that's not a 3-0 lead in the NLCS or in the World Series, and they have to pitch him, you are flirting with disaster because he will get lit up, and he will get lit up hard. You want to give it a chance? Maybe you're going to play a team that's righty heavy at that particular point, and you're up 3-0. Sure. But even then, what is this? What are we catering to this? You're playing with fire even with that. So my answer to that is you can't put Kershaw in a playoff game. Not even as a reliever. Are you going to put him in when you're up 10-1? That's like putting Johnny Unitas in while he was playing for the San Diego Chargers during a blowout. What's that going to do for Kershaw? Kershaw is only pitching right now because he loves the guys and he wants to be around baseball. And I get it. But as a fan, we've talked about this with LeBron. I don't want to see this. I'd rather see elite performance for 13 years than 23 years, and you have 10 of that be stat heavy. What's that going to do? Again, I'm going to keep asking this damn question. What am I going to do with LeBron's stats? Stick them up my ass and dance around with them? I'm not in this for individual stats. I don't hang a Kobe banner that says most points by a guard in NBA history. Do you do that? I don't. I don't even think the craziest Kobe fan has that. Even the craziest Kobe fan is going to talk about the titles because that's what Kobe was about. Now, if you don't win titles every year, we know that's not possible. But I'm going to have a lot more respect for that player who kills himself to try to win and doesn't win than that guy that's passive and says, we'll see if I can win, but I still get my thing. We need a no-nonsense manager that will hold everyone accountable, especially Ohtani. I don't think that guy exists, Gregory. It would have to be a collective. We'd have to reincarnate Lou DeRosa, Tommy Lasorda, Billy Martin. Those guys don't exist anymore in baseball, man. I mean, even Joe Torre softened up the older he got. Joe Torre, when he was managing, there's a really cool clip of him as an Atlanta Braves manager. And I had never seen Joe Torre. Joe Torre was always too cool. He was Joe Cool. But seeing the Brooklyn come out of him in that sequence, go ahead and go on YouTube and put Joe Torre screaming at an ump. Oh, man, it was a beautiful thing to watch. Yeah, it was a beautiful thing to watch. And I'm sorry, that's what I relate to. And I'm not changing, by the way. I'm never going to change from that. I'm not going to turn into 60-year-old grandfather and be like, well, let it go, guys. Fuck that. I'm going to have the heat on until the heat is off. Literally off me. Or my brain melts. Well, I mean, it's what it is. It's this validation. So we were talking about the Instagram skanks and the Instagram fakes the social media fakes, probably more accurately. It's about stats. And these people make money from these stats. But what's the substance? Where is the substance that matters? These are the same people who get divorced every 2 years, who are with scum of the earth people. And I'm not talking about poor people either. I'm talking about high class trash, like the Kardashian type people, the yuppies. Those guys are no different than the trailer park meth heads. They are no different in terms of functionality and progression. It's all tied to the stats, the money stats, but they pollute. They pollute society. They make it okay to be whores and garbage people because they make money, because they live in big houses. I live in a big house. I have money. But I don't go out there and parade myself being some guy who gets things done. I'm trying not to veer off to the left here, so y'all know what I'm talking about. It's all grandstanding. I was talking to Sean Grice about this today. The grandstanding needs to be called out. It really needs to be called out, and everybody does it. I was looking at Kristi Noem, the crazy South Dakota governor, sitting there with her ice gear. What are you gonna do? The fuck you gonna do? You weigh 115 pounds. The fuck you gonna do? Somebody like me, a psychopath like me, you need 4 SWAT guys at that point to protect your ass. So stop wearing the gear and acting like you're gonna go do something. Stop grandstanding. If you're gonna be arrogant and try to be a tough guy or say that you're a tough guy, be prepared to prove it. And don't insult our intelligence. If you want to joke about it, it's an ongoing joke, whatever. Hey, I'm cool with that. That's fun. But when it matters, know your role, know your position. Don't insult our intelligence. We know what it is. And that's the other thing too, is that no one's going to really tell her that because they don't want to ruin whatever connection they may have, right? Everybody's looking to suck the teat of whatever famous or high ranking official is, right? That's the other problem. Do you think it's embarrassing to get swept by the Angels, lose to the Astros, and be below the Padres? It's an absolute embarrassment to get swept at home by the Astros. It's evenly disgusting to get swept by the Angels, both series. And being below the Padres after having a 9-game lead is equally as embarrassing. Not because you finally hit a year where you're not playing well. This team was supposed to be the next 1927 or 1998 great, all-time great team. Those are the two that I've done research on. There's more, but those are the two that stand out. The 1927 New York Yankees and the 1998 New York Yankees. The 98 one is a little easier to rank with because I was around for that. I saw a lot of those games, and I know that team. 114 wins in the regular season, 125 wins to a dominating title. Only lost 1 game during that playoff run. 1927 Yankees won 111 games and then won the World Series because they only would win the pennant, then go to the World Series. They didn't play NLCS, ALCS, NLDS, and ALDS. That's what this team was supposed to be, not this. And if they win it all, winning 95 regular season games, I don't give a shit at that point. But have the Dodgers been known to turn it on? Is that their rep? Is that the Dave Roberts thing? We're gonna find out here. If the Dodgers want to get out of this rut, they're gonna be playing the Padres 6 times in the next week. And I'm sorry to say this, it ain't gonna be enough just winning the series. You want to get out of this funk, you better sweep them in both series in San Diego and in LA. Oh, and by the way, there's Chaldean night this weekend, and your boy's going to be there because I'm Chaldean. Never thought in a million years they'd have a night in professional sports for my people. A lot of people don't even know who the hell we are. But San Diego has a huge Chaldean population, so they're going to celebrate the Chaldean heritage, and damn well better believe I'll be there. Let's see here. Like trying to hit home runs every plate appearance. How about hitting in the clutch and for average hitting the single doubles? Again, the Shohei has been much more disciplined this last few weeks in terms of not getting not striking out. So I think he did fix it a little bit. No one wins back-to-back in baseball. How can the Dodgers overcome no bullpen, Joe? Well, isn't that what all the transactions were this offseason? So that they didn't have to worry about the bullpen? Starters are dead. Bullpen is dead. What is it? Overused them, right? Maybe if you had let a starter pitch through 6, maybe a little bit more in the 7 innings, maybe you wouldn't have taxed your bullpen as much as you did. Oh, that's right. Your pitchers still got hurt anyways. Okay, if they're going to get hurt anyways, then why don't you just go all the way then? Just let them pitch 7 innings so that these guys aren't getting taxed in June and in July. Whose fault is it that they don't have a bullpen? They signed the 2 best relief pitchers last year, Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott. And you already had a guy that was pretty damn good too in Blake Trident. So now what? And Vesia was pretty good. And Banda was pretty good. And then you brought in a guy like Jack Dreyer, a rookie who has been pitching amazing. So now what? You brought in the best relievers. You had the best relievers last year. And you even got a couple that are pitching well, that are rookies. So what is it? What the hell are you doing? I didn't tell these guys how to do this. They did it. I did like this. I did like seeing Roberts let Ohtani pitch to the 5th. More of that. It didn't work out. But back to what I was saying. If you're going to go all out and it doesn't work, you're not going to hear me complain. I swear. I won't. I am not that guy that says, holy crap, you depended on your number 1 guy who's in his prime and capable, and it didn't work out. What a bum. No. You give the ball to Michael. If he misses the last shot, what are you going to complain about? It's Michael Jordan. Same thing with Kobe. Hopefully we can start seeing Luka get the ball at the end of the games. For some reason, J.J. Redick didn't want to do that the last 3 months. I'm not going to criticize anyone who depends on his number 1 guys. What I will get on is stop babying them. Stop worrying about shit that hasn't happened. You're not in a position to do that. And you're in this position now because of it. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Yes, please. We've had a pretty consistent number here. We're sitting at 15 to 20. The show, for those of you who just started watching the show or will be watching it after the live feed, I do a show generally once a week. It will increase. It will increase because activity will increase with the Lakers playing obviously with the Dodgers hopefully going to the playoffs, and of course the NFL football. So we're going to be rampant and raving here, not Baltimore Raven, of course, but we're going to be rocking and rolling here, probably within the next month with a lot more shows during the week. And this is the first time since I started the experiment in March where I felt like I've done the show that I was meant to do. I wanted to get a feel for what this was on my own. Not generally, even if I'm on another show, I'm still sort of going to do what I want to do. But this is my show. And I've got full. I don't want to worry. I don't want someone else to have to worry about what I do either. That's not respectful of their show. But this is my show. And the experiment is about exactly that. It's an experiment. It's an experiment that's not normally going to be what you think it's going to be. Things can change. Experiments change. But I do know my sports. And I do know social and political things as well. Don't go into those too deep because I don't want to lose the essence of the show. This is a sports show first and foremost. But real life stuff does seep into this. And it's a good way to explain things because there may be somebody out there that might not care about sports but wants to watch the commentary. That's what I learned in broadcasting school with my great mentor, John Chalesnik, former ESPN commentator and STAA talent owner, where he helps kids get broadcasting and sports jobs. One of the best men I've ever met. Most valued, one of the most valued men you'll ever meet in your life. So it's not an accident that I've taken those ethics from the leaders that have mentored me and have applied it to this. Because money doesn't control me, and it never will. Ever. Can't buy me. I don't give a shit if you have $1 billion. If I feel like whatever it is that's there isn't right, and what's right? Right is subjective. Not really. We all know what's right. It's not going to be at the expense of selling out. What's selling out? I'm going to tell you the truth according to what I'm observing. If I have to sit there and be the Eric Karros and be the Oral Hershiser's and massage a positivity to the situation, it's not going to happen. It never will happen. That's why I can't be on those shows. And it's got to come with backing. And you're going to be wrong a lot. Then you get hammered, as you should. As you should. But you also have to have some balls. And I learned this from my mentor, John Chalesnik. Stop saying maybes and if, even though they seep in every show. I've already been called out on it by certain comments on YouTube. The if sometimes does come in, but this needs to be more of an assessment and a comment. Are the Dodgers going to win the World Series this year? Well, if they do this, that's an easy answer, right? You could say it once in a while, but for right now, I'm going to still say yes. I'm going to still say the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. Even if I'm wrong, it shouldn't be balked at. Why wouldn't they win it? How do you not win it when you have Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, the best catcher in the NL, in my view, hitting and catching, Will Smith, Ohtani, Yamamoto is good. Glasnow's been pitching like an ace the last month and a half. Snell, who always pitches really well towards the end of the year and in the playoffs. Why wouldn't I feel that they can still win it all? But what they got to do right now is they got to start by pounding the Padres. And I'm not talking about winning a series. I'm talking about destroying them in a series. The Dodgers need to sweep both series, not just because of the Padres situation, but they need to make an announcement to the league that they've switched back to who they're supposed to be. You need to start being the team that wins the game 90% of the time just walking into the ballpark. That's what I want. I want dominance. This is supposed to be the 2001 LA Lakers. Now, they had a bad regular season, right? I'm going to put a nice positive spin on this. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? There's a lot of correlations to this, and it's a good segue. It's a great segue because I'm going to be on the Lakers fast break in 20 minutes, or 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm going to give a little break before, after Gerald starts the show. But I think this is a good transition to the Lakers fast break on YouTube in saying that maybe this Dodger team can be the 01 LA Lakers. For those of you who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, the LA Lakers had a letdown in the year after they won the first championship with Shaq and Kobe. What is that letdown? They had won 67 games the year before. Best record. Shaq won every award practically all year. Went to the championship and won. And we all were expecting 70 wins and a back-to-back championship, except it didn't go that way initially. It didn't look that way initially. Kobe got hurt, broke his hand, broke his wrist, blah, blah, blah. Lakers were 48 and 26. 48 and 26. At the end of March, and then they won 8 in a row. And then they won 15 of the next 16 games. They went 23-1 to finish off that year in the most dominant playoff run I've ever seen, even more so than the Golden State dominance when they went 16-1 in 2017. The reason why I say that is they beat the 1-seed Spurs in the last 2 games in the Western Conference Finals by 39 and 29. They beat Portland the first round that year in double digits in every game. Kobe dropped 36 and 48 in Sacramento in this sweep there. 48, actually. Sorry, not 46. Or did I say 46 or 48? Yeah, 48. 36 and 48 in Sacramento. 48 and 16 rebounds, too, to put in a closing game on the road. They won 8 in a row in the regular season, won 15 of the next 16. Went 23-1 the last meaningful games. 23-1 to win back-to-back championships. And what have the Dodgers done this year? Played below expectations. So can they have that last month where they come through? It's coming. It's in 2 weeks. It's in 2 weeks. Can the Lakers make it happen? I'm sorry, the Dodgers. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say they're going to get it together, win the division, and go on a run to win back-to-back championships. There you have it. And with that, I want to thank you all for being here a little earlier than normal, but I wanted to get on here because, again, I aim to please. I want to be on my guys' shows as well. But for those of you who have been here and haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please like. Please hit the notification button. This show will continue to advance. The production value will continue to advance. Commentary will continue to advance. And I will have guests on the show. Anything you need, please hit me up on X. You can hit me up on Instagram. Everything is Joe Soro OX, The Experiment. Just put in The Experiment and you'll find me. And with that, I want you to have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good evening, wherever you are around the globe. And until next time, I'll see you next time.